come find a comfortable seated position. So we'll come onto our blanket or our bolsters. Let me move my mouse. There you go. So every week you may notice that you may be wanting to sit a little higher as babes grows, and especially once you come into that third trimester, sitting up higher, because just physically babes will be resting more onto the thighs, and you'll just want to sit higher for greater ease and comfort. All right, so I'm going to ask you to walk the outer edges of the feet closer to the outer edges of the mat. You're going to retract the toes so that the ball of the foot and the heel are working on being on the same plane. And this is going to have a nice chain reaction all the way up into the hips. Now, it's not in everybody's body to bring the knees in line with the heels. If your knees are further out, that's fine. It is an evolution, and it can take some time, years even sometimes, to bring the knees closer in. All right. We're going to close the eyes. We're going to place the hands onto the belly. Feeling the warmth of your hands connecting with this divine baby in your belly. And as you come to close the eyes, you're going to draw the inner gaze inwards and upwards to your brow point. And you're going to let the tip of the tongue rest behind the two front teeth. Your shoulders are softly descending away from your ears. And your earlobes are resting above your shoulders. And we come to breathe steadily in and smooth, steady, cleansing breaths out. And as we come to draw our senses inwards, as we come to that dropping into the heart center, we expand upon the length of the inhale, and we expand upon the length of the exhale. Now, when we're pregnant, there is no retention of breath. It's a steady flow, inhale into the exhale, into the inhale. So that there's no holding, just a fluidity. And through that fluid connection of the breath, we come to feel how it nurtures and soothes the central nervous system. Now we breathe in and out through the nose so as to quieten the mind and to drop deeper into the parasympathetic nervous system. So even as babes grows and we have less ability to breathe deeper into the diaphragm, we do build our awareness and expand into the sides of the body. We expand and breathe into the back of the body. We allow the shoulders to descend away from the ears. As we continue to draw the inner gaze inwards and upwards to the brow point. Now shift your weight ever so slightly back so that you maintain that grounding of the back of the buttock bones. You maintain that awareness of the length and an extension through the back body. Now allow the corners of your eyes to gently smile. And witness the energetic shift that comes about in the body as you draw your smile inwards. Now, it is said in the ancient yoga and Ayurvedic texts that the normal news and drama of life is for us who are not pregnant to hold. It is not your karma to take on the stresses of the world at this time. It is so important to whatever is in your control to stay in that centered place, to maintain a sense of balance and equilibrium in the body, in the mental states, in the emotional states of the body. As all emotions that you are experiencing, your baby is experiencing too. And because their brains aren't fully formed, they don't know the separation of what's yours and what's theirs. So being aware of that, of making those choices as now already in this moment you are parenting. You are choosing which environments you put yourself in. You are choosing which foods to consume for the two of you. You are choosing which liquids you are taking for the two of you to benefit from, to enhance from. So the decisions that you are already making is already coming from a place of parenting. So expanding that vision of parenting, of being more aware of how you personally are affected within your environment. And starting to refine, setting those parameters of what is allowed in and what is not. What is impacting how you are interacting within a situation. And if it's like, oh, it's time for me to pop to the bathroom, fine. And you just allow yourself to be removed from the situation. You know, especially being pregnant, you have that luxury to say, oh goodness, I need to just take a break. And it's that much more expected, that's much more honored and respected. So use it to the more subtle environments or those subtle realms where you're aware that your energy is shifting and that you're not necessarily in a place of contentment or necessarily in a place of feeling emotionally safe. If you feel you're being emotionally triggered, observe it, witness it, but know if it starts to pull you down energetically or make you anxious or upset, allow yourself to remove yourself from the situation to whatever extent you are able to. So that you can maintain balance. This blessing of motherhood, this gift to be able to carry, sustain, and house life. You know, we see it as a natural progression of life, but sometimes we lose its sacredness. We lose its awe and its beauty and its magnificence. So allow yourself to bask more in this magnificence. And in a way, just gloat, glow and gloat in the privilege of being able to carry life. So allow for those 2 more breaths. Allow that radiance, that excitement that has allowed you to embark on this journey. It has been a conscious decision, and it is now here. And allow yourself to luxuriate in it. All right, come take your hands together at the heart and gently come to bow the chin down to the heart, honoring the body and inviting your magnificent mind to merge with the wisdom of your body and your soul. And then we'll come to extend the arms out to the side. We're going to bring the arms forwards, and you're going to bring right arm on top of left. You're going to wrap the arms around and take your hands behind you onto the shoulder blades behind. Release the head into the arms and gently hold here, rocking back and forth or side to side or being still, whatever innately presents itself to you. But just hold yourself in this loving embrace. Holding your baby, holding yourself. And in your mind's eye or out loud, you are muted. You may say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you may repeat it over and over, gently rocking from side to side or back and forth, whatever innately feels comforting to you. It's important for us to remember what is comforting, and sometimes just that reminder that we can give ourselves a hug is an important reminder in how to nurture, how to self-care, especially now in postpartum. Opening up the arms. There'll be moments where your partners are not around to give you that loving embrace, to give you that hug, to hold you. They might not be left on top of right, wrap the arms around. They may be physically around, but not emotionally available to give you that loving hug. So just to know and be reminded that we can give it to ourselves is a good and important reminder. Now, this second hug is for our loved ones, past, present, or future, holding them in your arms and envisioning them holding you. Back and forth, side to side, or being still. Envision them receiving your loving embrace just as you are receiving their loving embrace. And again, there's that I love you, I love you, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, and easing back to center. Good. Open the arms up. And then we're going to take the hands behind us. We're going to rest fingertips to the earth behind you. Now, you can stay on your blanket or you can remove if you wish. You're going to place your feet to the floor. Your fingertips are going to point towards the buttocks. Now, if this right angle, because the shoulders are stacked above the wrists, if that's strenuous to the wrist, take the edge of that blanket and rest the heel of the hand on the edge of the blanket. So the heel of the hand is a little elevated to the fingertips, and that will alleviate some stress in the wrist. But the elbows are slightly bent and drawing inwards towards each other. The buttock bones are rooting into the earth, and you're lifting the back of the heart to the front of the heart. You're opening up through the chest and the heart. The eyes are gazing out onto the horizon line. And it's flushing out any stagnation in the kidney area. It's allowing that collarbone to broaden, stimulating circulation in the lymphs and the milk ducts and the glands. As we rise, keep the buttocks on the floor, nice and grounded. 2 more breaths in. And 2 more steady, cleansing breaths out. Good, and release. All right. Come back to seated for a moment. I'm going to just put some attention on a little more breath work because it's important to connect to alternate nostril breathing because it's going to help calm the central nervous system. So if you notice anxiety rising, this is going to be a really nice calming influence on the mind and the body. So switch. Notice how you automatically cross your legs and go the other way so that you're on your non-automatic side. All right, we're going to raise the right hand. I'm not mirroring, I'm doing my right as well. And you're going to take pointer finger and middle finger into the palm of the hand, into the center. So your ring finger and your pinky remain raised and your thumb is out to the side. Take your hands or hand on your nose, right on the cartilage of the nose. Elbow is to the center of the torso. We're going to close your right nostril and exhale fully through the left. Inhale left. Pause. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Shift the weight back so you're grounded evenly in the buttock bones. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Slow drawing in of the breath. Slow exhalation. Inhale left. Slowing it all down. Exhale through the right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. One more circuit at your own pace. Breathing in left. And once you've exhaled through the left, release the hands. Rest them either on the thighs or back, hands back onto babes. Keep the eyes closed and just take a moment of observation, observing the quality of the breath. This alternate nostril breathing helps to balance out the right and left hemisphere of the brain. It's a very calming and grounding breathing practice. And it helps to balance out the right and left side of the body. And as it's such a grounding and calming breath work, it's really wonderful to do postpartum and beneficial to do postpartum. So when you're breastfeeding, bottle feeding, when it's feeding time, and you're sitting in that favorite chair that you've realized is most supportive for your setup, and you've settled in, you can keep one hand doing the alternate nostril breathing or just doing it in your mind's eye, breathing in through right, exhaling through left, inhale through left, exhale through right. You don't have to do alternate nostril breathing with the hand, and it can be the left hand if need be. You can alternate depending on which hand is free, if there is a hand that's free. But it's a wonderful, calming, grounding practice to do when you're in alternate nostril, when you're feeding. And you can keep the eyes closed and keep that eye contact with babes even as you're doing that practice. All right, let's come on to our hands and knees. Spreading fingertips and thumb pads wide. Allow your middle finger to be in line with the center of the wrist. Shoulders stacked above the wrists, hips stacked above the knees. So you've got a nice tabletop. Now you're slightly bringing front ribs to back ribs so that even though babes is hanging nicely, you're not straining in the lower back. And you can just take a moment to wag the tail or gently sway the hips. Get some organic movement in the pelvis. Nice and fluid. And then as we come back to center, we're going to flatten the tops of the feet. We're going to round the back and draw the chin into the chest. Broadening through the back of the shoulders, back of the body. And as you inhale, curling the toes under, lifting the buttocks, lengthening through the heart. Exhale and reverse the curve again. Inhale, back and forth. Exhale and rounding. Allow the breath and the movement to be in sync. And then as you take one more luxurious rounding through the back, come back to center. We're going to shift the weight to the right knee. And we're going to stretch the left leg out behind you. Curl your toes under. Draw the heel back beyond the toes and see if you can keep that left pinky toe in contact with the earth. You're dropping the outer hip and you're bringing your awareness to the inner groin. Should be a good, nice stretch on that calf, sole of the foot. And when you're ready, you're going to power up through the leg and then gently come to raise the leg up, pressing out through the sole of the foot. Let the shoulders descend away from the ears. And you can stay as you are, or you can extend, I'm running out of space, extend and lengthen your left arm or right arm out alongside the ear. Your thumb wants to point upwards to the ceiling. Now, some days it feels taxing. Some days you may just want to do the leg. Some days you may want to keep the toes on the floor and just do the arm. Now come release right hand to the earth. Cross the left foot over to the right side. Plant the toes down. And as you softly come to look over that right shoulder towards the left heel, let the hip lengthen to the heel. Feel that wonderful stretch through the side body. And then we'll ease back to center. Now, you can stay here and circle through the hips. And it sometimes feels particularly good to stay on the side and get that wonderful stretch through the outer hip. So luxuriate as you pause and stretch through the sides. And then we come back to center. We transfer the weight to that left knee, and we'll stretch the right leg out behind us, curling the toes under. You're dropping the outer right hip, and you're bringing your awareness to the right inner groin. You're releasing the shoulders away from the ears as you breathe. And then you're going to power up through that right leg and raise the right leg from the right inner groin. We place that attention on the inner groin so that we keep the hips level, so that we don't disrupt the positioning of the pelvis. You can stay as you are, or you can float that left arm alongside the ear with the thumb pointing upwards to the ceiling, arm alongside the ear, cleansing breaths in and out. And then we release the hand back down to the earth. And then we'll come cross, right foot over to left side. Let the hip lengthen to the heel. And this time you're going to look over the left shoulder to that right foot. Find the breath. And breathe into that wonderful stretch through the side body once again. Good. And coming back to center. Now, we're going to take a gentle restorative. Connecting to the parasympathetic nervous system, where we rest and digest, is so important. Because for many, many reasons, but one being, in pregnancy, we want to ensure that we are rested and not going to depletion, especially in that third trimester, especially in that last month. It is very critical that we stay pulling back, doing less, conserving our energy, and allowing for that deep rest to come in as often as possible so that we're not moving into pregnancy and postpartum from a depleted state. So 1 or 2 blocks. 2 blocks is super handy because you can have one flat and one upright. And you'll place the bolster on top. If it's not available for the foot to be flat, sometimes the ankle is tight and it's not comfortable or available to have the foot fully flat resting onto the earth. So then we take our blanket and we create a little roll. Just once or twice is normally enough. And then we rest the top of the ankle over that roll, and that alleviates the pressure and then supports that arc. Now, if still having the buttocks on the heels is not available, then you may need an extra blanket or a pillow. And you might want to sit on that in between the ankles. And that, again, will elevate to take any pressure off the knees and, in addition, off the ankles. So from here, we'll take the hands either side, buttocks remain down, and you lengthen through the spine and you rest forward. The knees can be a little wider. Depending on the growth of babes, you'll be either further away or closer to this bolster. If you're further along in your pregnancy, you'll create more space between so that babes can sit just in front of this bolster. Now, if this feels too much of a jar on the neck, you'll flatten or lower one position down that second block, and that takes the angle away. So you'll feel out which one feels most comfortable, and you can experiment. How does it feel with that back block down? And how does it feel with it up? Is it okay with it up? Or is down better? Now coming to close the eyes. And allow yourself to relax and release into the props. The arms can rest alongside the blocks or in between the blocks, and that can be a nice cuddle, a nice comfortable, comforting position. And now for that extended exhalation of breath. That is especially beneficial if anxiety is high or present. Having that mindful connection to the exhalation. Couple more breaths in and out. And then slowly deepening the breath as you ease back into this room, ease back into the here and now. Resting the forearms to the earth And before coming up to seated, just take a moment to scan through your body. Notice the quality of your mind. And notice how you feel in your physical body. Just taking note, just observing. And if it's a positive, quiet, calming space, remember that this is always here for you. You need to take a pause in the day. If you notice that you've hit a wall and you're exhausted and you're like, ooh, put a timer on for over 7 minutes. 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, whatever you feel you would need. But even a 10-minute restorative posture, when you begin to cultivate it and you can drop down into that parasympathetic nervous system and shift gears, you'll begin to reset the pathways of the brain and the body and recondition that deep connection to the parasympathetic nervous system. And a 10-minute restorative practice will become as powerful as a 3-hour nap. So this is one of the reasons why this practice will be golden postpartum. When you're sleep deprived and you're not able to get a full night's sleep in because babes is needing to feed, babes is up. Being able to take a restorative is going to really allow you to bridge that gap of sleep deprivation. It's really going to allow you to come to a place of balance and assist with that sleep deprivation. All right, so let's come on up to standing. We're going to place the props aside and we're going to come on up to our Tadasana. Allow your feet to be hip-width apart. Middle toe is in line with the center of the heel. And we come to take the hands together at heart center. As you come to close the eyes, if you feel safe, you draw the senses inwards and gaze inwards and upwards to the brow point. If you don't feel so safe in closing the eyes balance-wise, find your drishti. Steady your gaze out on a non-moving object out in front. And find that stability. Shoulders are descending away from the ears. I invite you to lift the toes. That's going to help shift you 5% more onto the heels than the balls of the feet. And it's going to allow you to find that rooting, mound of big toe, mound of pinky toe, inner heel, outer heel. And it's going to allow you to root into your foundation. Buttock bones energetically descending to the heels, and the heart and the crown rises. We spread the toes and we softly release them down to the earth. And we pause here in our heart center. Steady and grounded, resting in place. All right, 3 breaths. Inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead. Exhale, sweeping the arms steadily back down. Inhale, arms up. Feel the movement and the breath in sync. Exhaling as you release back down. Once more, inhale, arms rising. Exhale as you draw them back down. Come take your hands to heart center. Good. We're going to shift the weight into the right foot, and we're going to step the left foot back behind you. So your left foot is behind, right foot is forwards. Let your right knee stack above your right heel. And as you can see, my left foot is more north, and it might be slightly turned out to the left, but that's it. It's not at a right angle to the left side. Because we want to be able to square the hips, and we want to be able to align the knee. If the foot is turned out all the way to the side and we square the hips, we're compromising the integrity of the knee, and we're putting strain on that knee. Or we're straining the sacrum and the strain in the lower back. So we want to keep the hips level, and that means positioning that back foot in place so as to maintain stability in these hips and lower back and the knees, these vulnerable areas that as we hold babes and babes grows, they can be compromised and there can be more weight and pressure on those lower backs, on the sacrum, on the hips. All right. From the rootedness of your back left heel, hands come to heart center, eyes open or closed. Just pause here. Anchor into the foundation of your warrior, strong and grounded. You may choose to raise the arms up overhead as you inhale, or you can keep hands at heart center. It's amazing how just the act of raising the arms can show you just how exhausted you are. Sometimes just the act of extending the arms overhead, be like, oh, that's too much hard work. If that's the case today, don't do them. The arms are just the fluff. They're not a critical part of the posture. Conserving your energy and listening to your body. What does your body need? Because that slippery mind will override. That ego could be like, oh, I'm not weak, I'm strong, look what I can do. So watch out. Watch out when the mind is governing the pose and listen to the body. Find that dialogue with the body. Your breath will also be the bridge to informing you. Exhale, sweep the arms back down and come step the back foot to the head of the mat. I'm stepping back because I run out, my head gets chopped off. All right, find your Tadasana. Drop back to heart center, drop back into the foundation. Feet are hip width apart. Find the heel energy, root into the heels, and rise and ascend through the spine. As you spread the toes, let them rest back down to the earth. Just take a breath in your Tadasana. It's so key, it's so critical. In parenthood, it's so critical too, because it's that grounding force that keeps us centered and that can ground the energy for the family when the energy is running high. Shift the weight into that left foot. Come transfer the weight and come step the right foot back behind you. So left leg is forwards, left knee stacked above the left heel, and you root into the back right foot, rolling the right inner upper groin in and squaring the hips to the front of the room. Eyes open or closed. Find your center. Take a pause. It's in the act of doing less that we find the richness in the moment, in the posture, in that act of sustaining the foundation. If you're choosing to, raise the arms up overhead Allow the shoulders to descend as we rise. Full cleansing breaths in and out. And as you exhale, sweep the arms steadily back down. Hands coming back to heart center. Step the back foot to the head of the mat. Come back into your Tadasana once again. Find your heel energy, pause, rooting into your foundation as you rise and lengthen upwards. Good. Come step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart. We're going to turn right toes in, and we're going to turn left toes out. And we're going to come bend through that front left knee. Now, check out the hips. Take the hands to the hips, palms facing up. And that will give you a great sense of where your hips are in space and time. This left hip can drop down, so raise it up so that right and left palm are on the same plane. This is important because you want the sacrum to be level so that the spine can ascend and rise. Good. Buttock bones are descending down. And you're lengthening through this left inner groin and you're drawing back through the outer thigh. Keep that knee stacked above the heel. Hands at heart center, warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Pause here at heart center, eyes open or closed. Can you feel the grounding of the back foot, rooting into the earth? Heart and crown are rising, and yet your shoulder blades are descending. Now you decide, are you choosing to keep your hands at heart center? Or is it in your practice to float the arms parallel to the earth and to softly extend the gaze over the fingertips of that front left hand? Soft eyes. And even though we're looking out over the fingertips of that left hand, we're still rooted and grounded in the back foot. Cleansing breaths in and out. Noticing the quality of the breath. And then we'll release. Take the hands to heart center. Keep that position. You're going to descend into this front hip. Stay rooted in the back right foot and elongate and lengthen through the spine. I'm going to have you keep your hands at heart center. Imagine your left buttock is lengthening to your back right heel. So there's a nice clean crease in the hip. And you maintain that length through the inner groin. Good. Lengthen through the spine out of the rootedness of your foundation, rooting into the feet. One more in breath, one more out breath. All right, from your feet and legs, you're going to float steadily back to center. Take the bend out of the front knee. Both legs are going to remain straight and strong. And you're going to roll that left inner thigh out so that your kneecap aligns with your toes. So there's an external rotation of this left groin. And again, we're going to crease in the hip. Lengthen left buttock to back right heel. And you're going to find this nice stretch through the inner thigh. Root into the back foot. And again, I'd like you to stay light in the upper body. The moment you feel heavy and the breath is labored and scratchy and, rough, that's telling you that you've gone too far and that there's a forcing happening, a working too hard. And if you come up just a little higher, sometimes it's a very small action. You're like, oh, that's easier. And your breath shifts and there's greater ease in the posture. And out of that ease, you're still in effort, but you're not straining anymore. And you can elongate through the spine, because when we're in strain and we go too far, then we start to compress and contract. But when we stay up just that little higher, we don't cater to the intellect, but we listen to the body, it feels so much lighter and more spacious, and the breath can move with ease. And then from your foundation, you'll float steadily back up. Good. Lift the toes of the front foot, turn them in. And now lift the toes of the back foot, turn them out. Heel of the front foot is in line with heel or arch of back foot. And as you root into the outer edge of the back foot, let's bend through the front knee again. Find the hips level. Again, use the hands as that's a helpful barometer. Palms of the hands facing upwards so you can see right and left hip in space and time. And as you root into the back foot, you're lengthening through the inner groin, you're drawing back through the outer groin. And then you'll come float. If you're choosing to extend the arms parallel to the earth, you may. And then you can look the gaze over the fingertips of the front hand. Otherwise, you can keep the hands at heart center and still turn the head to look over the imaginary right hand. Full breaths in and out. Cleansing breaths in, cleansing breaths out. And then we're going to angle the torso. So we're going to crease in that right groin. Let the left or the right buttock lengthen to the back left heel so that the torso is on this nice angle, nice straight line. Left shoulder stacked above right, left ribs stacked above right. And staying up higher rather than going into stress and strain if you go lower. So you're going to explore where's that sweet spot where you can still elongate and lengthen through the spine while staying rooted into the feet and keeping that fluid breath. One more in breath, one more out breath. Good. This is where we're building our stamina. That holding, that sustaining without stress and strain. We need that in labor. We need to remind ourselves that when we come to full labor, that we have that inner resilience, that inner strength within us. And this soft holding of the poses without being in strain builds up that mental strength as well as our physical strength. So pulling back and doing less is still going to build your stamina. And it's going to do it in a more effective and a more efficient manner. Now we're going to keep both legs straight and strong. And we're going to draw down in this right hip. We're going to lengthen right buttock to back left heel. Find that nice stretch through the inner thigh here. And yet remain grounded and strong in the legs. You're keeping left shoulder above right, left rib above right, and as the hands rest at heart center, you continue to elongate and lengthen through the spine. Full cleansing breaths in and out. One more in breath. One more out breath. Good. Hold it, sustain it. Come up a little higher if you're pushing through. You want to remain light. You're still working, even though there's not that forcing. All right, floating steadily back to center. Lift the toes of the front foot as you turn them in. And then we're going to heel, toe the feet together, coming back to center. Drop back into your Tadasana. You're going to have a greater awareness of the feet in contact with the earth. You're going to have a greater awareness of your legs and your pelvis. 20 minutes. Shoulders descending away from the ears as the heart and the crown rise. And we shift the weight back into the heels. Full breath in and out. Good. That's it. Dropping into that stillness. Reconnecting to your body, reconnecting to your heart. When you're ready, let's travel back down to the floor. We're going to come back down to seated. But this seated position is going to be on the heels. Again, this is not available to everybody. Sometimes the tops of the ankles are not having it. And sometimes it's the history of the knees. But we have our block. We can place the block in between the ankles, and that will elevate. You have two blocks. You may have one flat. You may have the second flat. And then you'll place your buttocks a little more elevated. So you will decide what feels best to you. If you loved that roll under the ankles, then roll your blanket and place that under the ankles. Again, this is discovering what assists your body in finding ease. So that when you're on the floor with your babes and they're learning to sit, and they're starting to crawl and move about on the floor, you too can sit with ease. And some of these props may be of great assistance postpartum too. All right. If you have a belt, you're going to take it. If you don't, we can do without. It's fine. If you have a belt, you're going to place the belt into your right hand and you're going to raise the right arm up. If you don't have the belt, we can improvise without. Take that left hand and take the tricep and roll it in towards the ear. So again, there's this external rotation. We're going to bend the elbow and take your left hand onto your right elbow and guide it upwards. We're going to knit the ribs together so they're drawing together and drawing down. And then the elbow gently rises up. Now, to give you a side view, I want you to be mindful that the buttocks don't roll forwards and the ribs don't splay, because this is straining the lower and mid back. So you're dropping the buttock bones down. You see that movement in the pelvis? You're descending the buttock bones down and you're knitting the ribs together. so that as you raise the arms up, the torso is undisturbed. And you maintain that length and extension in the mid and lower back. Good, so you can stay here as you rise. Cleansing breaths in and out. And then if you have a belt, you're going to take your left hand, turn the hand to face the wall behind you, and you slide the hand up the center of the spine, taking hold of the belt. If you don't have a belt, just keep the hand on the elbow and just gently continue to guide it upwards. Now, if you're familiar with Garuda Asana and you know it's available to you to clasp the hands, then feel free to do so without the belt. We have 3 options which you can choose from. Just be mindful that the buttock bones remain rooted to the earth and that the ribs knit. One more, cleansing, breath in. Another great postpartum heart opener. And then as we exhale, we come release. And we roll the shoulders. And we'll go to the other side. We'll come extend and lengthen now the left arm up overhead. Right hand, take hold of the tricep and roll the arm in towards the ear. Bend at the elbow and let that right hand now rest onto the left elbow. Now, this elbow needs to be on this trajectory. Don't let it splay out because that's not a healthy action for the shoulder girdle. You need to be able to keep the arm. So the arm may be here out in front. It may be pointing towards the corners of the ceiling and the wall. Accommodate and honor where you are. Drop the buttock bones, knit the ribs, broaden through the lower back, broaden through the mid back. You may stay as you are with the hand on the elbow, or you can turn the hand to face the wall behind you and slide the hand up the center of the spine. Breathing into the body. Cleansing breaths in and out. All right, calm release. Roll the shoulders. Okay, now we're going to transition to our restorative pose. So you're going to take your 2 blocks. This is the first and second trimester. Again, if you just have 1 block, that is fine. Use the one. You're going to place your bolster over the block. Same as we did before, except this time we're going to lie back over the bolster opposed to lying forwards over it. So you're going to need 3 or 4 blankets, probably 4, or 2 cushions and 2 blankets, whatever the, whoopsie days, whatever the combination is. So you can always place it lower if you just have the 1 block. You can always place it a little lower to make it less wobbly. You have the 2 blocks. One would be flat, the other would be upright, and that would create a more stable foundation. All right, first blanket. Open it up so that it's a nice long width. My blanket is folded in half. And then I fold it in half again, and then I fold it into 3 or 4 so that it's one nice long strip. All right. Your 2 cushions or your 2 blankets are going to be out to the side of your bolster. These are actually your arm rests. So you have one on each side. And then your fourth blanket will be for your head rest, because you do want the head higher than the heart. Now, place your buttocks close up to the back of the bolster. Take the soles of the feet together, so your legs are in Baddha Konasana, cobbler pose. You're going to place the blanket over the feet. And you're going to take the arms under the shins. Fold this blanket in half so it folds double under your shins. And you'll find it gives a nice support to the legs. You're going to place your hands behind you so that you elongate and lengthen through the spine. Your head could rest onto the blanket, and your arms are resting onto the pillow or the blankets to the side. If your bolster is lower and your elbows rest to the floor, then you can omit the blankets if you wish. But if you have them, luxuriate, use them. Take that support, take that self-care extra step. If you feel tension in the lower back, you're just slightly going to lift the pelvis, lengthen the buttocks forwards, and that will reposition the pelvis so that there's a little more space in the lower back. We're going to close the eyes. Allow the tip of the tongue to rest behind the two front teeth. Let the eyes softly gaze upwards. If you have an eye pillow, place it over the eyes. A light weight over the eyes helps you to drop into that parasympathetic nervous system. Close the eyes. Find your breath. Allow your bottom jaw to release from the top jaw. This is first and second trimester. If you are in your third trimester, if you're in your second, close the eyes, surrender, relax. If you're in your third, this is your pillow. You'll lie on your side, your left side, and you can place the bolster in between the legs. That second blanket can be rolled up in between the arms so that that top arm has something extra to rest upon and support. And it can also slide under babes to support the belly so that the weight of babes isn't pulling you down. So wherever you are, allow yourself with every exhalation to surrender deeper into the posture. Surrendering deeper with each exhale, with each breath out. gently beginning to move your fingers and your toes in ways that feel comfortable to you. Allowing your breath to become slightly fuller and deeper. And just taking a moment to scan through your body. And just noticing how you feel. It's important that we make this mind-body connection. Having that understanding of cause and effect. As you rest the forehead down onto the earth, just to ground you and bring you back into the room, rolling on over to that left side, if you're not there already. Take a couple of breaths to bring you back into the here and now, back into the room. And when you're ready, gently easing your way back up to a comfortable seated position. Coming to take the hands together at heart center. As we seal our practice with one round of Om, steadily breathing in. And swallow in your throat. Namaste. Thank you. Divine light within me honors and sees the divine light within you. Thank you. I wish you and your baby a fabulous week ahead, and I look forward to working with you next week.